I watched a guy last week who has been riding for 30 years. Low side his Harley at 15 miles per hour in a parking lot. 30 years. He went down like a beginner because he never learned to use his friction zone properly. That is the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. Most riders do not have 20 years of experience. They have 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. Seat time does not equal skill. It just means you have been getting away with bad habits for longer. I am breaking down the 12 signs that prove you actually have no idea how to ride. Let's get into it. Sign number 1, the death grip. If your arms are stiff and you're white-knuckling those bars, you're not riding the bike, you're fighting it. Here's what's actually happening. Your bike has something called self-steering geometry. It wants to balance itself, and it wants to track straight. But when you lock your elbows and strangle the grips, you're killing that natural stability. The problem is mental fatigue. Your brain is overwhelmed, so your body tenses up, and now you're just a passenger on a high-speed accident waiting to happen. The fix? Loose arms. You should be able to wiggle your fingers at any speed. If you cannot, you're doing it wrong. Sign number 2, duck feet positioning. I see this everywhere. Riders with their arches on the pegs and their toes pointing out like they are doing ballet. That tells me you have zero understanding of proper leverage and weight distribution. In the Shirabai world, Japanese police standards, the balls of your feet go on the pegs, toes forward, heels in. That gives you the ability to actually weight the pegs when you need to shift your body, to load the suspension correctly. When your feet are flopping around like a penguin, you have no connection to the bike. You cannot feel what the chassis is doing. You cannot respond to weight transfer. You are just along for the ride. And here is the kicker. This affects your suspension. Every time you hit a bump or lean into a corner, your body should be absorbing and managing that load through your legs. But if you are standing on your arches with duck feet, you are dumping all that chaos straight into the bike. The suspension gets upset. The chassis gets upset. And eventually the road gets upset with you. Sign number 3, friction zone denial. Most riders use the clutch like a light switch. It is either all the way in or all the way out. That is not control. That is just hoping the bike cooperates. Here is the test. Can you hold a steady 2 miles per hour crawl using only your friction zone and the rear brake? No feet down, no jerking forward, just smooth, controlled, slow speed maneuvering. If you cannot do that, you do not actually have control of your machine. You are just getting lucky at higher speeds where the bike's gyroscopic effect is doing the work for you. The friction zone is a control surface. It is not a switch. When you are smooth with it, you can modulate power delivery. You can manage weight transfer during launches. You can keep the bike stable in tight situations. But if you are just dumping the clutch and hoping for the best, you never learn the fundamentals. All 3 of these, the death grip, the duck feet, and the clutch abuse, connect to the same core problem. You are upsetting the suspension and the chassis because you do not understand how rider input affects bike dynamics. Your stiff arms fight the bars. Your feet cannot load the pegs. Your clutch hand jerks the drivetrain. And the bike is just trying to survive your incompetence. But here is where things get stupid, because these physical mistakes are just symptoms of a deeper problem. They are the visible proof that you never learned how to actually ride. You just learned how to twist a throttle and hope nothing goes wrong. Sign number 4, squaring the corners. This is the one that separates riders who understand lines from riders who are just guessing. Here's what I mean. You enter the turn too early, you apex too early. Now you are running wide on the exit with zero room for error. That is a squared corner. Squared corners eventually meet oncoming grills. The Shirabai line is different. It is about entering late, hitting your apex at the geometric center of the turn, and giving yourself maximum exit room. That late entry gives you time to assess the corner, to see gravel, to see oil, to see the car that is drifting into your lane. But when you square it off, you have committed before you have the information. On a motorcycle, commitment without information is just another word for suicide. The problem is most riders learn their lines from watching cars. Cars have 4 contact patches and a roll cage. We have 2 contact patches and a helmet. The physics are different. The consequences are different. And if you are squaring your corners, you are telling me you never learned that difference. Sign number 5, braking blind. And I am talking about the ABS lie. Riders think that little computer in their brake system means they can just grab a handful and let technology save them. But here is what actually happens. Before ABS even kicks in, you are loading the front suspension, compressing the fork, shifting weight forward, and unloading the rear. That is physics. That is weight transfer. And if you do not understand how to manage that load, the ABS cannot save you from your own incompetence. ABS prevents wheel lockup. It does not prevent suspension bottoming. It does not prevent a front end tuck because you grabbed too much brake while leaned over. It does not prevent you from running out of tire because you waited too long to start braking. The computer can only work with the grip you have available. And if you have already used up that grip through bad technique, you are going down, ABS or not. The real skill is progressive braking. Smooth initial application, building pressure as the suspension loads, feeling the feedback through the lever. But if you are just panic grabbing and praying the computer saves you, you are not a rider. You are a liability with a false sense of security. Sign number 6, following distance stupidity. The 2-second rule is for cars. For motorcycles, it's a death wish. Here is the math. At 60 miles per hour, you are covering 88 feet per second. Your reaction time, even if you are sharp, is about 1.5 seconds. That is 132 feet before you even touch the brakes. Add in stopping distance, and you need way more than 2 seconds. But here is the real test. If you cannot see the pavement under the car in front of you, you are too close. Period. That visible pavement is your escape route. It is your early warning system for brake lights. It is the difference between reacting and colliding. And if you are riding bumper to tailpipe because you think your reflexes are that good, you have already forfeited your life to their brake lights. The worst part is experienced riders are the worst offenders. They have gotten away with it for years, so they think they are skilled, but they are not skilled. They are just lucky. And eventually, luck runs out. Speaking of forfeiting your life, let's talk about the financial stupidity that proves you do not get it. Sign number 7, target fixation on cool gear. I see this constantly. A guy shows up with a $1,000 exhaust system and $200 sneakers. He spent more money making his bike loud than he did protecting his feet. That's not a rider, that's a financial ambush waiting to happen. Here's the priority list nobody wants to follow. Boots first, real boots with ankle protection and toe sliders. Then a proper jacket with CE-rated armor. Then gloves that will actually stay on your hands in a slide. Then pants, then helmet upgrades. Then maybe you get to think about performance mods. But most riders do it backwards. They buy the ego stuff first and the survival stuff never. The math is brutal. That exhaust makes you sound fast. Those proper boots keep your ankle attached to your leg when you low side at 40. One of those things matters. The other one is just expensive noise. And if you are prioritizing sound over safety, you are telling me you care more about looking like a rider than actually being one. Sign number 8, maintenance procrastination. The fine for one more season tire squared off in the middle with zero grip in the rain. The chain that is so loose it is slapping the swing arm. The oil change 3,000 miles overdue. This is not just lazy, it is stupid. In the Shirabai world, maintenance is a survival skill. It is not a suggestion. Your tires are your only contact with the road. When they are worn, your grip is gone. Your stopping distance increases. Your lean angle decreases, and your margin for error disappears. But riders convince themselves it is fine because they have not crashed yet. That is not skill. That is just luck that has not run out. Same thing with chains. A loose chain affects power delivery. It creates drivetrain lash. It can jump off the sprocket or, worst case, lock up your rear wheel mid-corner. But guys ignore it because tightening a chain takes 20 minutes and they would rather ride. So they gamble their life on a maintenance item that costs nothing to fix. And oil, your engine is full of metal parts spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute with nothing but a thin film of oil between them. When that oil breaks down, your engine eats itself. But riders skip changes because it is inconvenient. Then they are shocked when their motor grenades and they are staring at a $5,000 rebuild. The maintenance schedule is not optional. It is the minimum requirement to keep your machine from killing you or bankrupting you. Sign number 9, mental fatigue denial. The just one more hour trap. You have been riding for 4 hours. You are tired. Your reaction time is shot. Your decision making is impaired. But you push through because you want to make it home, hit one more canyon, or prove you are tough. Here is the reality. After 4 hours in the saddle, your reaction time can drop by 30%. That means threats you would normally avoid become crashes you cannot prevent. A fresh beginner with sharp reflexes is legitimately safer than a tired veteran with slow reactions. But experienced riders are the worst at admitting this because they think their skill compensates for their fatigue. It does not. The most dangerous rider on the road is not the newbie who is scared and cautious. It is the veteran who is exhausted and overconfident. They may think 20 years of seat time means they can push through anything, and they may end up in a ditch because they were too proud to pull over and rest. Then there is the whole mess of ego and technique that separates pretenders from pros. Sign number 10, choppy throttle inputs. The on then off throttle jerk. You roll on, you roll off, you roll on again. Every input is abrupt. Every change upsets the chassis, and you wonder why your bike feels unstable in corners. Here is what is happening. Throttle control manages suspension load. When you smoothly roll on, weight transfers to the rear. The suspension compresses gradually. The tire loads up and generates grip. But when you chop the throttle or snap it open, you are shocking the suspension. The bike pitches forward or backward. The tires lose and regain grip in sudden bursts. Your available traction disappears because you are too busy upsetting the chassis to actually use it. Smooth throttle is the only metric that matters. It reveals actual skill level. A pro can hold steady throttle through a decreasing radius turn while managing lean angle with body position. A pretender jerks the throttle and hopes the bike stays upright. If your throttle hand looks like you are playing a video game, you are not riding. You are just surviving your own inputs. Sign number 11 is the "I have ridden for 20 years" defense. This is the most dangerous sign of all because it is an ego shield that prevents you from ever getting better. You use your seat time as proof of skill, but time does not equal progression. It just means you have been practicing the same mistakes for 2 decades. Real skill development is deliberate. It is taking courses. It is practicing emergency stops in empty parking lots. It is learning proper body position, throttle control, and brake modulation. It is identifying weaknesses and fixing them. Most riders stop learning after year 1. They figure out how to go fast in a straight line and lean in corners, and then they repeat that same limited skill set for the next 19 years. If you have not taken a riding course in the last decade, you are not experienced. You are a beginner with old habits. Those old habits are probably wrong because you learned them from other beginners, from YouTube, or from just winging it. The Shirabai standard is continuous training. Skill degradation is real. What you learned 20 years ago might be outdated or incorrect. And if you are not actively maintaining and improving your skills, you are getting worse, not better. Sign number 12, lack of fisherman vision. You are not scanning 12 seconds ahead. You are staring at the car directly in front of you or the pavement 20 feet ahead. And then you are surprised when a car pulls out or debris appears or traffic suddenly stops. The road tells you secrets if you are looking for them. That car at the intersection with wheels turned, it is about to pull out. That patch of sand in the corner is there because you looked ahead and saw the dirt driveway feeding into the turn. That brake light pattern 3 cars up is telling you to scrub speed now before it becomes an emergency stop. But if you are not scanning far enough ahead, you are just reacting to threats instead of predicting them. And reaction is always slower than prediction. The difference between a skilled rider and a pretender is that the skilled rider saw it coming. The pretender is shocked every time reality shows up. Bottom line, seat time without skill development is just practice at being mediocre. You can log 100,000 miles and still be a dangerous rider if you are repeating the same bad habits. Which of these 12 are you guilty of? Drop the number in the comments and hit subscribe so we can build a safer riding community together.